Welcome to The Actor's Choice, where the actors and actresses have a chance to talk about themselves and their careers. Join us now for the next hour as we explore the marvelous industry of acting by actors and actresses from today's exciting show business world. And now, direct from Hollywood, here's your host, Ron Brewington.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ron Brewington, and welcome to The Actor's Choice. Roll it, Tony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely, the very talented April Sutton.
All right.
Thank you, April. Thank
so
you
good
for
to
coming
be here.
out. We've been trying to get you out here for a long time.
We've known each other how many, we won't say decades, let's just say years. Yeah.
I like that decades. I like that decade.
Yeah.
So it all began for you in the great state of Ohio.
I'm a Buckeye.
Pretty girls come out of the Buckeye State, don't they?
Well, that's what they tell me.
You know any other pretty girls that come out of the state?
Oh, well, let's see. There's Halle Berry. Let's see. There's Jane Kennedy. Do I have to keep going?
Keep going.
We just stop.
All right. Tony, how'd you like me when I had hair? Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest today is a longtime friend. She was the face of Hollywood as a part of Black entertainment television. And in 1993, she became the youngest inductee into the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. Now, currently, she's a delegate to the United Nations General Assembly and is known around the world by diplomats, general counsels, and many, many others. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome April Sutton.
Well, hello there, my brother.
Hi, my sister. How
are
doing?
you?
You're looking G-O-O-D
I'm
today,
doing
as
good.
usual.
Thank you.
All right. And
thank you.
And once again, welcome to the Actor's
Thank
Choice. When you didn't see the video, when you take it home, you'll see it was you and I on the set there at the old studio that we used to use, okay?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I do. Okay, where do you start at? Lady, you've got quite a tremendous amount of work. I remember back in the days when we had a good time back in this city. I was doing it for, you were doing it for BET, and I was doing it for American Urban Radio Networks. Tell our listeners, you were the one who got BET started here in Hollywood.
Yes, I did. I'm a part of the early stages of the network. Wow, I go all the way back. You know, we know where all the bones are stored, as we say.
Oh, yeah.
Because when, Bob Johnson had a wonderful vision to start the network, it was amazing that he came up with the idea to get a first Black network in American history in this country. And it really facilitated a great need for many entertainers who, a lot of them could not be seen on MTV. They couldn't get their music played or their videos played. So Bob Johnson gave them another option. And it was fantastic because we were able to break a lot of new artists on the network.
Everybody knows you. Here's a picture that we have of you and a guy by the name of Louis Gossett Jr., just one of the thousands of people that you knew as a reporter. You knew a lot of people, and they knew you. And they knew one thing about you. They always wore sunglasses. Tell us about that.
That started a while back. When you're a reporter and you're standing out in the red carpet and you are literally standing, basking in the sunlight in the city of Los Angeles where the sun is beating down on you.
Yes.
After a certain while, it's like, okay, I need to put some sunglasses on because this is ridiculous. We normally would have to get to the red carpet location at least an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours in advance, depending on what the event was. So if I was covering the Oscar Awards, I would definitely want to get there at least 2 hours early. Or if it was the Grammy Awards, I would at least want to get there 2 hours early. So if you're standing outside in the sun, you have on an evening gown, you got makeup on, you don't want your hair to mess up. And so obviously you're just basking in this heat. On top of that, you've got the sun beating down on you. So for me, it was just quite logical at that point to just start wearing sunglasses just to protect my eyes. It was a logical decision. Well, it wasn't so much aesthetic, but it was just more logical since it became a part of my image. I've just kept it up all these years.
Ladies and gentlemen, now you know the secret. It's on the street now. Everybody knows it. Indeed. Speaking of which, there's a story. Can you keep it short if you would? You and Marvin Gaye at an event.
Oh, yeah, that was the year that he won his Grammy Award for the song Sexual Healing. And let me tell you what happened. BET, we were trying to get to the after party, and at that time it was at the hotel downtown Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And so when we got there, my camera crew and my producer, field producer, they were letting in Channel 7. They were letting in Entertainment Tonight. They were letting in the people from MTV. All Channel 4 was allowed in, and Channel 2 was allowed in. So we were standing outside, and they kept telling us, well, we don't have you on the list. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of frustrated because, we're trying to get into this event. We've just covered the Grammy Awards. Marvin Gaye saw me standing there having a difficult time trying to get in. He got out of his limousine, and he came straight to me. And he could tell that I just was having a problem at the table. So he said, April, he goes, are you having a difficult time here? And I said, Mr. Gaye, we're trying to get into the after party. He said to the lady behind the desk, he said, ma'am, he goes, I'm Marvin Gaye. This young lady here is with me. He said, April, who else is with you? I said, my cameraman and my producer. He said, and they're with me too. And at that point, they gave us a pass, and we walked right in with Marvin Gaye. Can you imagine this?
Wow.
And I'm so grateful for that, because at the time, BET was very, very new. And a lot of people still was not clear of what Black Entertainment Television Network was. They used to call us Black Entertainment Tonight. In fact, I used to have to turn back in my press badges to tell them to correct it. Wow. Because we were not Black Entertainment Tonight. I had to tell them we are Black Entertainment Television Network. Mm-hmm. So there was a couple times during the very early stages that we had to turn our press badges in to tell them to put the name correctly on our press badges.
Okay. All right. You left BET and you went to a guy by the name of Geraldo Rivera?
I sure did, yes.
Tell us about it quickly.
Yeah. Well, at that time, when I left BET, Geraldo Rivera was looking for a West Coast Hollywood correspondent as well. And we were in the midst of the O.J. Simpson case. And he wanted someone out here to cover that story. So, of course, I did cover it all the way till the day of the verdict. And then the Princess Diana story broke. And then the Tupac story broke. Then the Biggie Smalls story broke. So Geraldo, he kept me on for all of those fast-breaking entertainment news stories. And then I became a part of his celebrity news show, and he would have me on every Friday. Sometimes he would fly me out to New York, and I would be live right there on the set at CBS Studios. And it was a really good experience. You know, I have a lot of respect for Geraldo as an investigative reporter. Right. And, you know, at that time, you know, he was the ultimate investigative reporter during his heyday.
Okay. Now, moving further along, you do a lot of other things besides being a broadcaster. You also do a thing called a diversity event. Would you tell our listeners and viewers what that's all about?
Yeah, well, I got my first presidential invitation to the UN in 2005. What had happened was the daughter of a president saw me on television and had wanted to meet me. And I got introduced, and they said, oh, you know, we've been watching you on television, and we would like to have you to go to the UN. This was back in 2005. Okay. And as a result of my first trip to the UN, I ended up meeting all of these different world leaders and diplomats and ambassadors from various countries from around the world. And I sat back and I thought, this is really quite remarkable that I sit here at the United Nations General Assembly, but when I get back to LA, how am I going to make this thing work? How am I going to make this unbelievable opportunity extend further than just this one trip? Ironically, I ended up getting an invitation every year from 2005. And so I decided to come back to LA and try to create something very similar so that people here in LA could have a similar experience, not quite like the UN, but almost. We have over 100 diplomats right here in the city of Los Angeles that represent over 100 countries. And a lot of people have no access to these individuals at all. Wow. We have consul generals here. We have former ambassadors here, and no one really talks about them at all. Wow. So I felt like it was important for us to create a platform for them. And that's why I created my annual Diplomats Gala.
It's an event, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you could come. I've been there every year with this lady, and we have had some fun. One of the things that you did is that you're an ambassador now, right?
Yes, I got an ambassadorship in 2011 by the Republic of Kenya.
All right.
Yes, and
Okay.
the prime minister at the time, he had his sister, Ambassador Wimble Odinga, to fly into Los Angeles for my ceremony.
And you get involved with in a lot of things, but one of them is a bunch of shoes. Can you show that picture, Tony? Is that here you are with a lot of shoes? Look at all those shoes. What are you doing here?
Yeah, so what that is, that's a picture of me with all of the shoes at Adidas. I partnered with Adidas, and I had contacted them to let them know that there are children in the villages of Africa that don't have shoes. Many of the children would try to find old car tires, and they would cut the tires up to try to make shoes. So once I found out that there were kids that had disease in their feet, I felt like, they need help with getting shoes. So I contacted Adidas. Adidas was very gracious to me. They literally gave me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of brand new shoes. That table that you're looking at with the shoes is only a small fraction of the shoes that Adidas gave me that we were able to ship to Africa to help kids in the villages.
Wow. Thank you. God bless you for what you did. A few more minutes left. Can you show us a picture of you attending a meeting at the United Nations? There you are. Looking good.
Yeah. Well, that's a wonderful experience, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. As a result of that too, I was a speaker at the Black History Month, and I represented Hollywood at that event. And I was able to meet a woman from Yale University, and Dr. Margaret Kuczewski, and I partnered with Yale University with her department to get AIDS medicine to Africa as well. And that is something that I am really, really proud about, because we were able to help so many people in Africa that really needed the medicine. They had no way of getting it. We were able to ship it over there and get it to, the necessary people that needed the medicine. So I'm really happy and thankful for Yale University to be able to partner with them to make that happen.
Right. You said you know a lot of the diplomats and whatnot. We got a video. Can roll it, Teddy? Ladies and gentlemen, this little lady from Akron, Ohio, did all that you see and more. Yeah. And more. I wish we had more time to talk about all the things that you have done. It's been a pleasure, because I've known you for years. I just can't say in front of all these people, I'm going to tell you, we love you. We love you for what you do and what you've done. When you say April...
Well, Ron, you are a broadcast icon, I must say. And I want everyone to know at my Diplomats Gala, I cannot do my event unless Ron is at the front of the line, at the helm of that podium, making sure that he introduces all of the diplomatic dignitaries. And I am so gracious for knowing you and your professionalism as a broadcast legend in the city of Los Angeles. And I am equally proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being our guest today. I can't wait for the next diversity. Can you tell us when? We'll talk off camera on that when we're going to have that one. But definitely, best wishes to you. Continued success. Ladies and gentlemen, April Sutton.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm your host, Ron Brewington. We would like to let you know that we are asking our Actor's Choice squad, that's you, ladies and gentlemen, to help us get former baseball player Curt Flood into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, Curt, who passed away January 20th, 1997, he was the husband of one of our wonderful guests, renowned actress, Judy Pace Flood. Now, all you got to do is call us at our office at 213-349-3941. That's 213-349-3941. We sincerely thank each and every one of you for being a part of this magnificent award for a great baseball player. Hello, Tony.
Hello.
Freeze!
How are you?
Don't you dare move!
This is Terry Miles reporting live from Wounded Knee.
pan-Indian activist group known as the American Indian Movement, or AIM, has seized the town of Wounded Knee on the Pine Ridge Reservation.
The authorities are gearing up for a raid, and I'm not talking about some local cops blowing off some steam. You want a massacre?
I'm gonna teach you to shut up!
Let him breathe.
What?
He's got problems.
So you've got...
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest today became a director after having a very successful international career as a film composer. This gentleman has put out more than 140 soundtracks to his name. In 2012, he wrote and directed a thriller about American political unrest involving the American natives at Wounded Knee called The Activists. The film was named one of the top 10 essential Native American films in Indian country today. Now, he's here to talk about a new director's cut of that film that he did. He calls this one The Sacrifice Zone, The Activists. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very, very proud to introduce to you a writer, composer, a director, Cyril Morin. Greetings, Cyril, and welcome to the Actor's Choice.
Hi, Ron. Thank you for.
When we were doing the intro there, you just saw it, but you couldn't say nothing. We'll get that later. But first of all, we came to talk about that movie. Tell us a brief synopsis of what it is, please.
It's happening in 73 during the Wounded Knee insurrection. This insurrection lasts for 81 days. And in my story, there is two activists. One is a lawyer who's inspired by Sarah, the lawyer at the time, who was defending a lot of Native American. And another one is a Native American. And they are put aside for the time of the insurrection for no reason. And then as the film goes, we will discover a couple of pieces of the puzzle that they are trying to put together.
What about the historical background on this film?
So the historical background is it's happening in 73, as I said, but it's 80 years after the massacre of Wounded Knee, who happened at the end of the 1900s, and it's a very touchy place for the Native Americans. Okay. So the historical background, you have suddenly tanks, helicopters, and the FBI who try to counterattack the insurrection, and you have suddenly people who are coming on the scene, like Marlon Brando, like Sachin Little Feather, the night of the Oscar, who come on stage to refuse the Oscar on behalf of Marlon Brando, to protest against what's happening in Wounded Knee and the treatment of the Native American in movies, which is still not really solved nowadays. And you have Senator McGovern, who just lost against Nixon, who is also the senator of South Dakota. So this is a mix, political mix. You have to know also that at the same time, at this moment, the polls in America are more than 50% in favor of the insurrection. So it's an historical fact that a lot of people forget, even some Native Americans forget, but it's a very interesting. And what is interesting with the movie is that I shot the movie 10 years ago, and it seems like a lot of events since 10 years show that we are back to this exact same period.
Cyril, people will ask, why are you releasing this debut film with a new director's cut?
The reason is that because in 10 years, few things happen. Mm-hmm. A little details, but in the movie, there is a moment, there is a police brutality, and one of the characters say, he can't breathe. And it's something that I record for the movie 10 years ago, but then it happened in the, I would say, it wasn't a fiction. It happened really. And so I thought that was a symbolic, this part was important. But the other part is also, I think the polarization of the society became much stronger in 10 years, not only in the US, but in the world. But the US, everything is a bit more extreme. And but because we have this confrontation between the good cop and bad cop in the jail, and I thought that was interesting regarding what's happened the last few years. And the other thing is that it's about the pollution in the reservation. Also, in a couple of years, we have this Dakota Access Pipeline, was a big problem for the same people, for the Lakotas from the South Dakota. And there was also an insurrection for a couple of years. And so it seems like the story is going in circle, you know, that you feel that some part of the history is solved. Let's say after 73, a lot of people accept the Native American in a better way. There was a kind of recognition. Also, they started to be proud to be Native American. But then after years and years and years, you see, you still have the pollution, you still have the problem of police and justice, especially in the reservation, we have a different treatment. And you have also the polarization of the society, which doesn't help them, help nobody.
Yes. Interesting. I read that the movie happens almost entirely in a single location, a jail. Interesting.
Yeah. What is funny is that normally I hate movies happening in a jail. So in a way, I took something who was far from me, and I went closer. And this is a very interesting exercise for a creator to do that, to start not from what is close, but what is far from you. And then as you come closer, you discover part of yourself. You know, it's very interesting. But it's I have a great influence from Sidney Lumet for 12 Angry Men. And also I even use the position of the camera, not the way that Sidney Lumet did it, to start very low, middle, and high as the process of the movie goes. But I use it for example, all the normal situation are on the level of the eyes, all the fights are on the ground, and all the quiet moments are on above them. So that was influence. So I will never compare myself to Mr. Sidney Lumet, but I have a great admiration, and I think doing a one location movie, it's an amazing exercise. Amazing.
As I'm hearing you talk, I'm thinking to myself, this gentleman has got a talent that won't wait a minute. You know your technology, you got great ideas. What a combination to put together a film.
I have to say, this, when I shot this 10 years ago, it was my first movie. In 10 years, I learned a lot because I worked on almost 20 movies, documentaries, shorts. And so I was totally unconscious. So I knew a lot about post-production, because as a composer for 20 years, I knew the process of the post-production for the pictures, the color correction, the editing, all this. Although I thought I knew, because I learned so much in 10 years. And but the shooting, I have no idea. I mean, I went on several shooting as a composer. I knew the atmosphere, but I didn't know how to do this. So what I did is that I'm a film composer. I compare a shooting like when you record with an orchestra. So when you record with an orchestra, you have 3 or 4 hours, and you have to record 20 minutes in 3 hours, 20 minutes of music. So you have to be ready. The score has to be perfect. you have to be able to answer to any questions, and after 3 hours it must be in the box, you know. So I took my music knowledge, and I exactly with the way I work with the actor was the way I was working with musicians.
Interesting. Interesting. Why is your main character a white lawyer and not a Native American lawyer?
That's a great question. And that's a great question. For two reasons, I would say, but one principle. When I wrote the script, I wrote it for two Native American activists. And I met with John Trudell after the movie. And I told him about this story. I saw a documentary about him before shooting the movie. And I heard him saying, we don't like when people talk for us. And I say, you're so right. Who I am to speak for your community, who I am to speak for, you know, I think it's right. So I change my character to a lawyer who was inspired by a lawyer at the time, which was Richard Serra, Tony Serra, the brother of Richard Serra, the sculptor. And at the time he was defending a lot of people from Alcatraz, from DC, all the demonstration at the time with Native American. So that's why I changed my character. So in a way, there is less of Native American actor in the film, but I think it's more related to who I am. And I have a question from my community to another community. And I think this way it's better. I don't know what you think about it, but I think I made this move.
Have you screened this movie in front of an audience yet?
In front of
any audience with Native Americans in it?
Yeah,
have they seen it?
Because, the first version was shown in several Native festival.
Right.
And no, the reaction was always very good. I had this question: why the main character is white? So that's my answer, you know. And I think it's I made a good choice. I don't regret it, you know. But the best moment I have with an audience, Native American audience, is the day I met with Sachin Little Feather, who was a friend of Brando, and I heard she was in the room when the light went down, and for 90 minutes I was behind her, and I said, she won't like it, she won't like it, she won't like it, you know. And after the movie, she was very happy. She was very happy I made this homage. She was very nice. We have a long talk, and it was a blessing, because the two people I wanted to meet with these movies was Sachin and the activist I told you about.
Okay. The name A Sacrifice Zone, where did that come from?
So the Sacrifice Zone are zone who were created by the Nixon administration to use the different rules of the reservation and to create nuclear plants. And there was like 10 or 12 places in the States where you could have this sacrifice zone. It's very, I mean, it's to sacrifice those parts of the land, basically. So when it's happened in the South Dakota, when they started to drill some uranium, and until today the water is affected by those drilling of the 70s, and I just learned this recently. But when the insurrection started, my guess is the answer of the authority was so strong compared to this little village, this little place, that I think it was a little bit out of proportion, or it was to defend this project. So when the end of the insurrection is in May 73, and the Watergate started right after that. So the Nixon administration didn't have the chance to put this plan in action.
One of the things that I love to do when I see a lot of movies is ask the person who did it, what is your favorite scene in this movie?
Oh, it's very hard to tell. And I guess you get the same answer.
Favorite scene, yeah.
I'm very tough with my own work, first of all.
Right.
And second, I wouldn't say scene. I would say I'm still in touch with the actors. We're still friends. Some of the actors play in another film, in other movies, and I think I wouldn't say a favorite scene, but I would speak about a mood, and I still get this friendship. And guess what? I just come back from Montana. I shot a documentary about the Sioux actor who is in the movie, Michael Spears, and we spent 3 days to speak about what it is to be a Sioux today, to speak about his parents, about his brother who was the only child who was born during the Wounded Knee insurrection, and to speak about all the condition. And what is really emotional, I would say, is that not a lot of change. There is a better way to escape. I think as an actor, he's able to escape some bad parts, but it's nothing has changed. Every question I ask him about what was happening in the 70s and now, there is not a big difference. There is not a big difference.
Interesting.
And this is why I re-released this movie. I wanted to recut it. I wanted to do a new release. I wanted that people see it with a new eye today, because our society changed a lot in the last 10 years. And so much that I think the movie has contains some elements to participate at the debate in the society.
How many countries do you want to put this film in?
I think it's going in every country, is in English, in French, and in Spanish. So I would guess 50, 60 countries,
Okay. I understand that several people, Colette Dehan, Chantal Charbazet, and Pitoff, helped you a lot in this film.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I work with the same people all the time. But there is one question you haven't asked me.
Please, sir.
That I got every time. Why a European living in Paris did a movie about Native American in South Dakota?
Why? Why ask why?
So behind me there is in this I think half of the shelves is about American Native American books, Wounded Knee, Little Big Horn, etc. But there is two reasons. One reason is because in our European history, we went to another country and decide it would become our country. Every American who went to, I would say European American who went to this land, invade it and decide it was their country. And it's come from ex-Europeans, So in Europe, we don't speak about this, but I think we should speak about this. The second thing is that the Europeans are very interested in the native culture. They are very sensitive to it, and I think it's sometimes it's kind of a bourgeois bohème thing, that goes with yoga, India, Native American, all this fashion, but also I think there is a true interest for the native culture, and they really want to study it and to see it. They want to know more.
Gotcha.
So this is why I'm doing this movie.
Okay. We only have a few more moments left, but before we get out of here, we'd like to give the audience a taste of what you put out. It's beautiful. Roll it, Tony.
I'm here on behalf of Marlon Brando this evening.
Kill me. Kill me right here.
Don't fade, bud. Stay with me.
Imagine you're on the top of a mountain. You're going to fall. Now, which side do you want to fall down on? You have to make a choice.
Very nice, sir. Cyril, thank you very much for being here today. I hope that a lot of folks got something very much out of what you have been doing right now with this movie.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Indeed. Special thanks to, of course, a good friend of both of us, Philip Sokolov, for making this appearance possible today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cyril Morin. This is the Actor's Choice. I'm Ron Brewington. Roll it, Tony.
Frankie Sojourner, the bad burner, warlord for the mighty gents.
Oh yeah, you broke my arm once.
Yeah. 2 years later, you put a 6-inch knife scar across my chest, so... We even? Good evening, Miss Ramon, please. Your seat. Now, Mr. Rollins, what was that? What were you saying?
Frank Green.
Who?
I'm looking for Frank Green.
I don't know any Frank Green.
Come on, why you treating me like this?
I don't know any...
Ladies and gentlemen, my next guest today is a veteran actor of stage, film, and television. Now, he hails from New York, where he likes to create content as a vehicle of visibility. When he's not collaborating with or coaching other actors, he continues to hone his craft by attending classes and workshops of the entertainment industry. And last but certainly not least, he graduated from the University of Southern California. I call it Son, and with a major in drama as well as a film production. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my man, Smokey Campbell. G. Smokey Campbell. G. Smokey, welcome to the Actor's Choice.
Thank you, good brother Ron. It's great to be here.
It's good to have you here. Question number one, how'd you get the name Smokey?
Smokey Robinson.
Are you, for real?
For real though. You know, back in the day when we had to, talk to get our way past any female's approval, you had to know how to talk, and Smokey Robinson had all of the lyrics necessary.
What a guy, Smokey Robinson. He's, as we say, he's still here. He's still cranking it out.
Yes, he is.
Well, what attracted you to be an actor, sir?
I enjoy. I guess it was. I enjoyed making people laugh. I found that growing up, one of the ways to deal with peer pressure was to be liked. So I think I fell into the ability to make people like and entertain people. And then once I learned that I could make money entertaining people, that was my chosen career.
Wow. Now that voice you got, that's a gift from God. Ooh.
Oh, well, I'm just trying to follow your lead. You got the voice, sir.
Thank you. But I thank you for saying that, because I teach broadcasting and I listen to people all the time. And I remember when I first met you, I heard that voice. I said, "Who that? That's I call that competition. If I'm looking for a JOB, that man's gonna get my job. Well, hold up here. What's going on here?"
No, I was always glad to meet you, Ron. Because again, you're an icon in our industry right here, especially in the Los Angeles area. Anything that has to do any voiceover, any kind of shows, any kind of presentation is your voice. So, and again, I'm very happy that ever since we met, you're always willing to share.
Okay.
You're always willing to share that, and that's something that we need. Lack of insecurity and low self-esteem keeps people from sharing.
Yes,
so I thank you for sharing.
My pleasure, sir. What type of roles do you go for?
Paying roles.
Okay. It took me a second to guess that. But yeah, paying roles.
I don't say that facetiously. Obviously, there's credibility. I don't want to take any role that,
yes,
question my morality or is going to leave something negative toward my quote unquote branding.
Yes.
But bottom line, I'm an actor, and I enjoy acting. I mean, that's what I do. I started with the stage. And for me, it's to be able to bring a vision of life to somebody else. If somebody else is experiencing that we're witnessing, and being able to bring that to life is my joy.
Got you. You've had some excellent roles, would you say, since you've been in this business?
I've had some, more than some, not as much as many. But my roles have been such that it's allowed me to pretty much, stay in a niche, where I'm comfortable in. Obviously, there's a lot more I want to do. My career had been interrupted where I was on a climb to a whole lot of different roles. But needless to say, as long as I'm alive and breathing, I can hit the mark, speak speech. I can still reach that mountaintop of the roles that I would like to do.
1974, you got your first IMDb paper. Creature, you sure did. It was an action film called Honey Baby, Honey Baby.
Yes, that was quite an experience. I got a chance to work with Dinah Sands, as a matter of fact. And the director at that time was Mike Schultz. So it was great to be able to get into the world and break into the world of film. And at the time, it started as a job I got working out of a community workshop. It was the drama workshop out of Bedford-Stuyvesant, because I am from New York, and the drama workshop was out of Bedford-Stuyvesant. And they wanted to recreate a family, an urban family. And one of the lead actors in that film, which was J. Eric Bell, was a member of our workshop. So because we were a workshop of talent, J. Eric Bell was the lead in the film. They incorporated the rest of the workshop as picking up some of the other featured and background players.
Okay, I'm gonna come off the script for a second. You said you're from New York. You got my attention. Because the city's so nice, they named it twice. The city's so pretty, they call it New York City.
They call it New York City. That's right.
Big Apple. Big Apple.
Big Apple.
What part of New York are you from, sir?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay, gotcha.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
I'm from Harlem.
Second largest city in the world. All right.
All right.
So we used to come up. We used to come up there. We used to come up there to handle business.
Yes.
And do our partying in Brooklyn.
Bobby Womack had a song. He called it "Cross 110th Street." I just thought about that.
Cross 110th Street. All of that. The Trouble Man. I mean, all of that. In the Mac. Back in those days, yeah, that was all 110th Street. Superfly.
Yes. Have you been home lately?
No, sir. No, sir. I haven't been home lately because all my family that remains in New York, they come out here to visit. So, I'm not going back to New York in the wintertime. So
don't say it's too cold out there.
It's too cold. No, I ain't going back there.
Well, at least we can make some ice cream, snow ice cream. They don't do that out here.
Yeah, well, they got snow cones, so that's the best they can do. That's the best they can do.
Smokey, besides doing acting, you are a part of the camera and electrical department. Can you tell our viewers and listeners what is that, please?
The camera and electrical department.
Yes.
Okay. When you make any kind of presentation, video, even on stage, but any kind of presentation, you're gonna need somebody to film you. That's your camera department.
Okay.
You're gonna need somebody to provide electricity and lighting. That's your electric department.
Okay.
And then your crew or your people who put stuff together, who build it, hold it together, and make things work.
Okay.
In the 1980s, it was the first year, really, it was in 1987. It was the first year I had not qualified for health insurance as an actor.
Yes.
Now, health insurance is given to the actors as part of the actors union, which is one of the benefits of being in a union. Nonetheless, I hadn't qualified that year for health insurance. And I was living in California by myself with no health insurance. This is way before Obamacare, y'all. This is way before anything. This is like you in Cali, you got no health insurance, you're not going to survive. So I decided I wanted to demand a footprint in the industry by learning all of the things that was involved in this industry, in front of the camera and behind the camera. So I decided I was going to learn the technical aspects of the industry, behind the camera, your electrical department, your grip and your crew, so that I can make sure I was working in the industry one way or another. So I went to school for that. You don't have to go to school to work in the electrical and camera department, but it's a head up, because after I came out of school, I had more control and I could demand the kind of attention that I wanted to prepare myself to direct for myself, create my own content for myself.
Got you. 1991, you did a job. You were in a movie called Teenage Exorcist as a best boy. Best boy job.
Yeah.
Yes.
Again, you see, best boy as a talent. Again, that's a quote unquote below the line. Below the line position. You have above the line and below the line positions in terms of behind the camera.
Gotcha.
Above the line position is everything from the neck up. Those are the people who are producing, making your schedules, casting. Below the line are people who are like down here. All they do is what they told to do. Okay, with every president, they have a vice president. With every corporate manager, they got to have an assistant manager. With every production crew, there are key personnel, the people who make the decisions and determine decisions. And then there are people who make sure they're followed up and followed out. A best boy is that person who follows out for the camera person's electrical department, and there's a best boy grip. They're the ones who determine that the list of things and the list of necessities and the crew and the personnel and the equipment is taken care of. So they manage things.
There's a gentleman in this town that we both know. His name is Ian Fox.
Ah,
that guy.
Yeah, that guy, Ian Fox. Yeah. He's pretty much a legend in this town.
Oh yes, he's a legend.
You can pretty much find Ian Fox behind the camera, in front of the camera, taking photos with his own camera. No, Ian Fox.
Hope he's watching, and we're talking about. We hope he's watching.
Well, I hope so. If not, I know he's got a wire. He's got a wire that's coming in because he's a prime mover in the industry and a prime mover of bringing the people in the industry, bringing the community, people in our community, bringing the politicians of our community to light. To light. And Ian Fox was very much responsible for, I guess you could say, introducing me and filming me to my first movie after I got to California in '81. And again, I got to California in '81, and Ian Fox was running a theatrical workshop, theatrical theater community. And at that time, he was also filming many of his films that he does. And I was hired to work with him on one of his many films at that time. So Ian Fox, here's to you.
Right. One of those movies was called Cabbie. He was the director, and you were the cabbie.
Absolutely. Again, it was a moment where it's like, listen, y'all, let's make a movie. Yeah. Let's do something. And again, one of the things that I appreciated most about Ian Fox was that he helped eliminate the mystery, help demystify the filmmaking businesses 20 years ago. I mean, now we got iPhones and you can make any kind of contact you want.
That's right.
Really no excuse for not making any contact. But 20 years ago, it was like, well, who and what and how? And Ian Fox said, look, I'm going to pull out my cameras and we're going to make a script and we're going to film something and we're going to get it made and get it done.
You sound just like him. We got to click. Roll it, Tony.
Of South Los Angeles transgender prostitute.
All right. Yeah,
Joe, here. How are you holding that down?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little short demo I had. Sorry we weren't able to share the sound on that, but basically you could just hear that young man up there expressing himself and delivering attitudes. And that's two things that's very important. You got to deliver yourself in our business, just as you deliver yourself, Ron. I mean, we can't be anybody else, and it's foolish to try to be somebody else because they're not going to hire you. They're going to hire that somebody else.
Right.
So being able to just be yourself and speak for yourself, again, that's what's necessary. And you got to keep it fresh.
Right.
Again, we saw a little clip. There are other clips that I got.
Right.
That's another thing too. They want to know, what did you do yesterday? What did you do this morning? They don't care.
If you would
about
let me, if I can interrupt you because we're running out of time, we got to get this on. This one is something you did a little back ago called Shady.
Thank you very much. That was my solo show.
Yes, sir. Roll it, Tony.
Hi, I'm G. Smokey Campbell. My solo show is entitled Shady. It's about an activist who is wrongfully sentenced to a prison farm and continues to urge his listeners to fight back against the corruption of gentrification and the privatization of prisons. I embody 20 characters to tell this story.
Those Red G kids, they had cakes and pies and little pony rides. Me and the only other in the classroom felt fortunate to be able to join a party.
Wow, we had to get that in. We had to get that in. That is you, my brother. That is you.
I thank you. I thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We got to get you back again. We just didn't have enough time. There's a lot of G. Smokey Campbell out there, really.
Yeah, it is. Plenty is. Next time you bring me back, there'll be plenty more to see. But again, thank you very much. All props to you. And listen, man, what, 300 shows?
Yeah, but 300 last week was 300 shows, yeah.
300 shows? Come on.
Yes, we're working on the second 300.
Indeed. Glad to be a part.
Thank you, Smokey, for being here. We sincerely hope that you'll come back again. Until then, best wishes. Ladies and gentlemen, G. Smokey Campbell.
Thank you, everybody. God bless.
God bless. I want to thank our sponsors, Harvey Brandman, Photography is an Art, Ron Irwin's Lose Life, The Way to Lose Weight, Larry Buford's Book to the Future, Time Travel, Message in a Capsule, State Farm agent Carla Green, and veteran actor Rob Brownstein's Actor Training School and Actor Space. And much, much thanks to our guest today, award-winning television broadcast pioneer April Sutton, composer, writer, and director Cyril Morin, and veteran actor, camera and electrical camera, G. Smokey Campbell. And of course, special thanks to our ever-growing audience. We say be well. We'll see you next time.